to start the recording right now. If you don't want your pretty face on the recording, you are welcome to go on mute, but we would rather you didn't because we'd like to see your pretty face. What you need to know, Wednesday, the 29th of July, 2020. And we have 3 amazing speakers today that are representing Strategic Alliance. So what I would like to do, I don't know what your speaking rotation looks like, Duana, so if it makes sense for you to each introduce yourself as you go along, that's okay. Or if you guys would like to all 3 introduce yourself before you get started, which way would you like to do that?
We can just introduce, I guess, at the beginning, get it out of the way.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, since you've got the mic, I will let you go first.
Okay, my name is Duana Boswell-Loechel, and I am the Vice President of Strategic Alliance, and I hold the Family Law Chair. I am the owner and CEO of Boswell Law Firm.
And she's awesome and amazing and a friend of mine too. So Duana, I'm so glad that you're here. Miss Gretchen Umberger, another great friend of mine. I think I've known you for, I don't know, maybe 10 or more years. We're like B&I family, girl. You're on mute. So why don't you come off of mute?
There we go.
There you go.
So
And
I'm Gretchen Umberger. I'm in the Strategic Alliance chapter. I hold the residential real estate chair with Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green.
And Gretchen, how long have you been a B&I member in that chapter?
Since 2004 or 5, something like that.
Wow. And I'm pretty sure
Forever.
Forever.
Founding members of that chapter.
I am the founding member of our chapter.
The only realtor that chapter has ever had.
That's right.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you're here as well. And Jayci Schmitt, another friend of mine. Wow, I think all of you ladies, we like make the circle. This is wonderful. So Jayci, I'm so glad that you're here. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Jayci Schmitt. The name of my company is Wonderful Image Clothing. I hold the clothing chair at Strategic Alliance, and I am the only clothing chair that that group has ever had as well.
In our entire region.
That is awesome. And I'll just tell you a little tiny thing. I used to be in that chapter, right, Gretchen? I did. I was for a very long time. And Jayci, I represented a business that was not represented in any other chapters in Mark's area either. So, yes.
Witch doctor.
I believe I have that honor too right now.
Doctor. Yes, exactly. All right, ladies, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm so glad that you're here representing Strategic Alliance, and you're welcome to take over the screen and take it away.
Okay, let's get this sharing. There we go. So I believe Jayci, so we're going to talk about how to invite in a digital world.
Yes, I'm going to kick us off and start out with the big why. We always want to know why we do things, right? So why do we invite visitors to our meetings? Why is this one of our measurable metrics on the power of one? So the biggest reason is to increase our membership, right? We want to continuously work to round out those contact spheres. It really aids in the overall health of our whole chapter is if we can have a complete contact sphere, it helps the whole chapter's profitability. So that's a big reason to invite is to increase our membership. But not only that, it is important to just maintain our chapter size. So we need to invite visitors in order just to maintain chapter size because there's just a natural 20% attrition that happens where members come and go. And so not only to increase our membership size, just to maintain it, we need visitors. So that's kind of the big why. Also, another reason we invite visitors is because of the increased business possibilities for everyone. Visitors connect with our members and potentially do business. Visitors could potentially know the referral that you are asking for. So instead of just access to the people in our members' networks, if a visitor's there, we now gain access to their whole network. So just think about that. If you have 5 visitors visiting one day, kind of think like, how many people does each person know? Say they know 200 and you have 5 visitors. That gives you access to 1,000 more people. So when you're asking for referrals, you have that much more access. I found a statistic that around 30% of all business is done in larger chapters through visitors, 30%. So how great is that? And then just think, if the visitor tells their friends about the experience, the business possibilities increase even more. So kind of along that same lines, just the referral potential of that visitors can bring. You never know who will connect with who for business opportunities. The visitor has needs, and our members could fill that visitor's needs. I have a really cool story about, I had a friend that was opening a burn boot camp fitness center, and I invited her to visit my BNI chapter, and she ended up doing business with our commercial realtor, our commercial insurance person, our general contractor, our plumber, our electrician, our HVAC, our commercial cleaning company, our printer, our print company, our bookkeeper, and our attorney. So one visitor that I brought, 10 members profited from that one visitor. Like, how cool is that? I mean, it's so exciting to have visitors come to our meetings. So another reason why we would invite visitors, inviting a visitor that is a customer or a friend of yours, it can increase your credibility because they're naturally going to promote you through testimonials. So if you're at that level in your chapter where you're looking to increase your credibility with some of the members, I encourage you to think about inviting a friend or a good customer that can kind of give you some testimonial, some credibility. And then the last big reason why we invite others to join us is that it's just the right thing to do. You guys, we have a gift. BNI is a gift. What if you in your business had never heard of BNI or visited? Pay it forward, right? Inviting can provide hope to a business, and that is more important now than ever. There's a lot of businesses struggling, and we have a gift. We can provide hope to people. So even if they can't or don't come and visit, you never know what could manifest in the future. And the important thing is just that you cared enough to invite, and making that contact is important to build relationships. And who knows, they may tell others about it, and you could get residual visitors from that initial invitation. So just spread what we have and share the gift. And really the last reason I think we'll all agree on why we want to invite visitors is that they really just add an element of energy to the meeting, right? We love having new faces on there, and it just kind of adds energy to the meeting. So those are the big reasons why we need to invite visitors. I'm going to move on to some of the ways we can invite visitors. So one of the ways, we can invite them to come and listen to the speaker. So what does that look like? Sarah, my friend Sarah, hey, our financial advisor is doing a 10-minute presentation at my BNI chapter this week. I would love for you to visit and come and listen to our financial advisor's presentation. So invite them to listen to the speaker. Another way, invite them to come meet a specific person in your group. Hey, John, I know you own a pool company. Well, the realtor in my BNI group is looking to connect with a pool company. So would you come and meet Gretchen? Another way, invite them to come and support you. Just invite your friends to come and support you in your BNI group. Here's an easy one. ask if they like free publicity. Like, who doesn't like free publicity, right? So you're offering them the opportunity to promote themselves to, 20, 30 people, and who's going to turn that down? Another way to invite is the indirect approach. So ask for someone's help in filling a category. So my sister lives here locally. She has a CPA. Our group needs a CPA. I don't know a CPA. So, hey, Sister Jana, can you invite your CPA, and can you two come and visit my BNI group? So then you get 2 visitors, and again, just a broader network, about a broader reach, right? We kind of touched on this next one a little bit, but just going back to that, invite a customer of yours to visit. You never know who they might know, or if they'll do business with other people in the group. So, and then this final one I love, invite the salesperson that is trying to sell you. So we had a pest control guy come to the door a while back, and he's trying to sell me pest control. And so I did a little, hey, do you want some free publicity? I would love you to visit my BNI group and promote your pest control business. So those are some ways to invite people. And then the next section we're going to kind of touch on is how. How do we invite? The big thing here is just knowing less is more. Keep it simple. Don't try to sell BNI. That meeting is going to sell itself. So just bite your tongue and try not to just like throw up how great BNI is all over the person. It's recommended that you leave out words like weekly, meeting, networking, join, agenda. So just keep it simple. A simple ask. John, I'm working with a group of local business people who are looking for a plumber to give their business to. Would you like to come and meet my colleagues? Just simple and easy. There's also the exclusive angle, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, that you can use. And Dr. Ivan Meisner's favorite way to do it is to interview instead of invite. So say that your group needs a printer. So when you come in contact and meet a printer, explain that you're in a referral group and we are interviewing printers now to find the best printer in the area to give all our business to. I think you might be a good candidate. Would you like to visit? So those are some steps on how to invite. And before I pass it on to Gretchen, who is going to share with us where to find people to invite, I just wanted to mention that it takes work. It requires some effort and some intentionality. So be intentional and set aside time each month or week in your schedule to methodically invite visitors, because it could be so worth it. Visitors are very profitable to chapters. So on to you, Gretchen. Tell us how to find those people to invite.
Okay, great. So I think before even looking for them, it's like, I think I can't stress enough the change in the mindset. There are times when that's not top of mind for me, and I do have to schedule it and be very intentional and really have to realize and remind myself that these folks need us. They really need us, especially during COVID. This is probably the easiest time to get people to our meetings. And so where I like to reach out to is, first of all, people that I already know. You know, I open up my checkbook or my Zelle account or whatever, and who am I paying? Who am I paying for a service that that I already know do a good job? That's a great person to invite, because I already know what a quality person they are and that they're looking to grow their business. And then the next place I turn is my mailbox. I mean, how many of us are getting those packs in from, you know, I get League City area, and I've got the Best of Friendswood, and I've got Home Concepts and Home Magazines. Well, guess what? These people are all paying a lot of money because obviously they want to grow their business and we can give them a better solution, certainly a cheaper one, right, than doing this, and more sustainable. And you know, we're talking coronavirus flattening out the curve. How about of our businesses, instead of having that curve? I don't know about you, but my business looks like that without BNI. For a visitor, we can help flatten out their curve for their business to get a more reliable income. So just pointing that out. And then another place I love is Next Door Neighbor. So anytime, hopefully, show of hands, how many people have ever been on Next Door Neighbor app? Okay. Every time you look on it, somebody's looking for a babysitter or a tree trimmer or a plumber or a roofer or HVAC. And you get, every time I see that, I see about 20 people that jump in. And so those are great opportunities to reach out to that person and say, Kathy Smith in such and such subdivision raved about you. First of all, you've just opened the door and they're going to listen to you because they know that you've heard testimonial about them. And so then extend an invitation that how would you like to, are you looking to grow your business? How would you like to meet? And go into the questions that Jayci just brought up to do the inviting. The other place is, just in, so of course, social media, there are a simple post saying, hey, if you'd like to grow your business, let me know and I can invite you to my friends, to my business partners that can refer business to you. But probably the biggest thing that I have to contribute in addition to that is going back to where I started. It's a mindset. And sometimes I have to reset that attitude to invite. So I invite y'all all to do the same.
Thank you, Gretchen. So now I guess I'm going to tell you some of the tools that I've used. And one of the big ones, if I can get my PowerPoint to work, is email. Email is something easy. You know, the hardest part about using email is probably determining who you're going to send them to. I would start just in a simple Excel spreadsheet, put your names in there with their email address, and then it makes it really easy to invite. And when somebody doesn't come or respond to you, you can just continue to invite. So BNI has made it really easy to email an invitation. If you go on to your BNI Connect, and you click on the operations button, and then it'll give you a drop down that says chapter. And then one of the choices you have is create email. Once you get that, it's going to give you this page, which says email visitor invitation. So you click on that and you'll get this screen where you can enter the information. Enter their email, their name, and you want to put a personal message on there. That personal message is going to be at the top of the email with the information for the chapter meeting, and it makes the email more personal. So you fill in that information, and then this is the email that is generated. You will get a copy of that email that is sent to the visitor, and it tells them all your chapter information, when you're going to meet, and it has, really importantly, a button that they can click that registers and takes them to a page that looks like this. So they put their email in there, click the I'm not a robot, submit it, and if everything works well, which I've seen it work perfectly, is that should register them for the meeting. And they should appear in your visitor list, and then your leadership team should be getting an email saying that we have a visitor that's registered. So simple as that. There's really shouldn't take you more than maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes a week. And you can probably invite 10 to 15 people with this method really quickly. So BNI also has an infographic that you can attach to your email if you want. So if somebody emails you back when they receive that visitor email and they want more information, then you can attach this infographic and send it to them as well. It's a 2-page infographic. That's the second page. So one of the biggest ones I think overlook, and people, maybe just not as familiar with it, is use your social media outlets. I do pretty much all of my marketing on social media, and that's how I've really grown my business. So there's no reason why we can't use social media the same way to grow our chapters. So there's this cool flow chart that's available on BNI University, and it shows some marketing tools that you can use to grow your business. And of course, at the top, we have, I guess the best way, the old fashioned way of when we were in person meeting people. You would meet somebody, tell them about your BNI chapter, they'd show interest, you'd send them the email, and then they would register or ask for more information. Now we can use social media. And so you just post your invitations on your Facebook or your Twitter, your Instagram, any of those media channels, and they'll reach out to you with an email saying, yeah, we're interested, send us more information. And then you can send them the same email that you would send that we discussed previously. So some infographics that are available on BNI University that you can download. So these are already created for you. You don't have to do any work, just download these and put them in your social media. And there's about 3 of these that are just different takes on basically the same message. And how you can find these, log into your BNI University account. And the easiest way I do it is I just put in the search block visitors. So when you get that, it'll give you a listing, and then you'll see a button that's for content. And if you push that button, it'll take you to a list of all the content that's available out there that has the topic visitors. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll find the US social media visitor invitations. And there's a download button right there. You can download it, save it on your computer. You're good to go. Easy as that. BNI University also has tons of podcasts and other trainings available for inviting visitors. I encourage you to check it out. If you find a training that you want to do and you can't access it for any reason, contact your VP of your chapter, and they should be able to get you access to that training. So the different media platforms that I mainly use: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. So the 2 big ones are going to be Facebook. And I can send this PowerPoint out to anybody that's interested, because it gives you some image sizes that are typical for posting on Facebook. So if you ever wanted to create your own graphic to invite that may be special for your chapter, you'll want to know the image sizes so that you don't post a picture that only shows part of it. I put Facebook and Instagram together because you can post to both of them the same, because Facebook owns Instagram. So if you want to schedule a post on Facebook, how do you do it? You're going to go to your business page, and you are going to, at the top of the page is a publishing tools. You're going to click that, and then you'll go to a page that looks kind of like what's in the background there. And you'll see on the side, it says publish post and a scheduled post. So if you want to publish one right away, you would just hit the publish post, and it would take you to a box that looks like this, where you can create your post. If you want to schedule it, you're going to hit the scheduled post, and it basically takes you to the same looking page, but you'll have a different option at the end. So to create a post, first I would just hit the photo video button, and then it'll take you to this. You can upload your photo or video, and that's where you'll put in one of those infographics wherever you've saved it on your computer, and it'll automatically upload it. And it'll look like this. And then you'll want to make sure, in Facebook especially, you want to make sure that you add some text with your photo. It helps it get seen by more people. So I would put in some attention grabbing open, such as, do you want to grow your business? Join me on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. to learn how. And for more information, email me. So you want to make sure that you give your meeting time and date, a call to action, which would be email, phone call, however you want to do it, and then make sure that you include the information for them to contact you so that you can then send them some more information. Once you get the post the way you want it, you would say share now. And if you were on the schedule, you would get a page that looked like this, where you could pick the date, time that you want to schedule it. The really cool thing is when you use this, if you saw there was a button that said post to Instagram, just click that button, sign into your Instagram, and it posts it in both places at the same time. Makes life really simple. LinkedIn is another big one that's really good for us to post on. It's more of a business to business. And so that's where you're going to find a lot of business owners hanging out and looking for things. That's the image sizes that they recommend for LinkedIn. And when you go and you say, when you first log into LinkedIn, you're going to have that page and it's going to say create a post. And then your options are going to be, you can share a photo, video, documents, and of course, whatever information you want. So one thing that I would caution whenever you're going to do this is when you say, yes, I want to create a post, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. If you'll notice where I circled, it says it's open to anyone. So if you click that drop down, you'll get this screen, which says anyone, or you can do a targeted audience. And I would highly suggest targeting your audience. At least you want to add the language, since as far as I know, all of our meetings are in English. Then we might want to make sure that we are targeting only English speakers. You can target industries, you can target a region. So if you're inviting to your chapter, you might want to limit the region to where your chapter's at. Twitter is another one that you can post to. Twitter has removed a lot of the character limitations. So that's kind of a nice thing. And you can post pictures to Twitter as well. Pinterest, of course, bigger pictures get more attention. You can post those pictures up to your Pinterest account. And I think it's starting to gain popularity a little more of people wanting infographics and information through Pinterest. YouTube and TikTok may not be as useful for us for posting to invite, but you can create a video that you can upload to YouTube, TikTok. You know, maybe you record yourself doing a personal invitation and you can, upload it to these two. TikTok is really growing quickly. And I would suggest if you're going to use TikTok, make that video very entertaining and funny in some way, because that's going to gain their attention. So some other useful tools that I use for posting to my social media, Canva. It actually has a free version and it is for image creations. You can create a Facebook image for your post. And it's simple. I think I can do it in maybe 10 minutes, create a really nice infographic to put on my social media. So it's something, like I said, it's free. Of course, they have paid versions that you get more access to, but the free version does just fine. I also use a scheduler. And schedulers make life way easier when you're doing social media, because you can schedule posts that will go to every social media social media channel at the same time. And you can post which days of the week, what time they're going to do. So some of the popular ones out there, Hootsuite, Monday.com, Thrive, Hello Woofy, Later. I personally use Hootsuite. So this is what my Hootsuite account looks like. This is my dashboard when I log into the account. And it's nice because not only do you see the posts that you've made, you can see the comments, the responses, and you can tailor this dashboard to what you want it to look like. You can see I've got some videos and stuff. You can see my BNI post right there. And I can also schedule posts. So you'll see today I have a post that was scheduled to go out at 1. This is a screenshot, or else I would move you up and down, because I have one tomorrow that's later in the day, and then you'll see one on Friday that's early in the morning. And so you can just make your posts on there, and that's your calendar. So I've got posts that are going out to all my media channels on these different times. And depending on which level of Hootsuite you get is how many postings you can make at a time. So it's easy. It's really, really easy to post. So when I get ready to create a new post, I would just go into the new post button. I can choose which channels I want to put it to. So on this one, you can see I've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all in one place. I can put my text in of what I want the post to say. I can upload an image, and I can limit it to location, and on the LinkedIn, I can actually do the page audience right here at the same place. So once I get it done just the way I want it to, you'll see kind of at the bottom, it says Wednesday, July 9th at 1. So that's when I'm going to schedule that one. And once I hit the schedule button, I have the option to duplicate, and I can schedule the same post on a different date and time. So it makes life really, really easy. It's also been suggested that I mention that there is a new branding manual out there that has newer graphics. That includes the new BNI graphics. Some of the stuff that's on university may be a little older. Yeah, as Mark's pointing, BNI, the new red BNI. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
That was awesome, ladies. I love how, and for those of you who don't know these ladies, you should book a one-to-one with them, but for you guys each took a part of this presentation and presented with your best style. You each had your style like pushed into this presentation. I loved it. It was really, really good. All right, so everybody come off and mute. Duana, I'm gonna unshare your screen so that we can see everybody's faces, if that's okay.
Okay.
And, oh, perfect. And you guys come off and mute and let's have a discussion. We've got about 20 minutes left.
I got the first question.
Go for it, Rose.
Okay, perfect. Mark could probably help with the answer to this, but that was such very important information, especially the items that Duana went over, is especially in this time of technology in the world. Is there a social media chair in every chapter, Mark? Do you plan on putting one in every chapter? Because I'm the social media chair for our chapter, and I just learned from Duana as well.
You mean a position, a BNI position for social media?
Yes.
There is not an official, over the years, there's been various different positions, some of which remained membership committee, visitor host, so forth. We've had event coordinator, a growth coordinator. We've had some positions that really are, if they're still there, they don't have as much interest. And that's just because things change. But speaking of things changing, although we may not have an official social media person in a chapter, meaning you know, like a training on BNI University and so forth, I don't need to tell you as creative, innovative entrepreneurs to just go ahead and do it. Duana actually, you know, is, if you're not their official, Duana, if you're not the official social media coordinator of your chapter, you're the unofficial one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I just
so,
stepped down. I'm just
telling you, I am an entrepreneur. If I was a member in your chapter and our chapter didn't have someone like Duana, I would make sure that you probably do have somebody who's proficient at that. So I would ask Duana to have a one-to-one with them, or at least, Trish, I know you're recording this. I would make sure that someone in your chapter gains access to this and does it and teaches your chapter members, because it's the world we live in now.
Yep.
And so, golly, Duana, actually all three of you did a great job of making this super simple. You took the fear out of it. And I'm like, you know, I could actually do that. If you were patient with me and repeated it 2 or 3 or 4 times, you know, I'd eventually learn how to do it. And so imagine what you could do.
Thank you, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions or comments?
I want to take thank you guys for the information that you guys received. all three of you guys, from the time of learning how to invite someone. I never thought of the aspect of interviewing a prospect and making him feel interested to even join the group before even telling him much. I want to say I take part into one of those people that do tend to say so much because you're so excited about what the meeting gets to bring to the people. But sometimes you do tend to scare them off, you know. And that's the point or the matter of trying to find or is out there some information that I've learned for the very first time that is very, very useful for, I believe, for the BNI group together and for the individual business as well, Duana. So thank you guys for everything so far.
As it gets quiet.
Everybody's leaning in.
I know Nancy Palma is wondering if you can do that, Duana, in 5 minutes. If you could do that for the education moment.
I can try, but people are going to have to listen really fast.
There you go.
So here, this is an idea, Rose. You know, if you were the education coordinator and your president, you coordinate with your president and say, hey, you know what, I'd like to present something for the next 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And rather than trying to talk fast, Duana, what if you were able to, you and Jayci and Gretchen were to able, say, for the month of August, we're going to focus on how to invite people in a virtual world. Your presentation could actually be given over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, and you'd be the education coordinator. Good education coordinators remember that it's their responsibility to make sure that there's education that is provided every week. Our better education coordinators make sure that others get the spotlight. And so, I mean, it's really an education coordinator, meaning I coordinate the information and also the people to deliver that. So I'm just saying, who's your education coordinator in your chapter, Duana?
Nancy.
Nancy, you got it lined out for the next 3 weeks if you want to.
She's really good at doing what you just said.
Yeah, she is.
What you guys don't know is that I already sent a private chat to Duana about 3 minutes ago and said, hey, would you be willing to do this education next week? Present these slides. So I already got it.
Further proof that great minds think alike, huh, Nancy?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Our education coordinator is a rock star in Strategic Alliance.
She's awesome.
She is.
She
We actually been talking about this very thing, inviting in a virtual world for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I am not I don't know how to do social media. So that's why I need that help, because I don't know the how-tos. What she just showed is what I've been incapable of providing to our chapter because I don't know how to do it. Mm-hmm. And there's no place that I've seen that walks you through it like Duana just did.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, you and I are friends. You're younger than I am, and we're both dinosaurs, right? So these young whippersnappers, can show us a thing or two. And
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's it feel, Duana, to be a young whippersnapper?
I love it.
Yeah, you're still in that category, Duana.
You little kid, you.
Love it.
I can't say Hootsuite is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, agree.
It is worth everything.
There are definitely a lot of tools out there, you guys. So, and Duana, I think, had a list on one of her slides of all of the tools that are available that you can use to post to multiple platforms at once. And if you're trying to post to multiple platforms individually, you're wasting your time because there are a lot of free tools out there.
Yep.
Yeah, the only caution I would have on using them is for Facebook. You can use it to post on Facebook, but then you'll get better results if you use the Facebook scheduler.
That's good. Anybody else have comments or questions for these ladies?
I do have a recommendation. back to resources, BNI has all kinds of resources. And one of the most recent podcasts that I took, that I listened to was a pretty recent one, and it's podcast 659. And it's Dr. Meisner's talking about how to invite in an online world. You know, it's for these times, these COVID times. And I think if you just go through and find and listen to all the poll he took of a bunch of different chapters across the region about asking if they had problems, how it was to invite visitors. And the majority of them said it's easier than ever. And all the different reasons is, I think that helped with my mindset shift. So take a look. If you're not in the right mindset yet, this might help get you there. Podcast 659.
Thank you for sharing that, Gretchen. And it should be easier. We're, getting the attention of someone to show up for a Zoom meeting should be a little easier than trying to get somebody. You don't have to drive by their house and pick them up, right? And take them to the meeting to get them to show up. It should be a little bit easier. And I know a lot of people they've got Zoom fatigue. So you want to make sure that you tell them what's in it for them, right? Like Jayci was talking about, tell them that you have people in this group that you want to introduce them to, because they may have business for them and they may want to share business or find a way to do business together. So make sure that you're making a statement to them. What's in it for them? Why should they show up? They've got Zoom fatigue. They may not want to sit on a 90-minute call, but if there's something in it for them, they're willing to show up, right? And make sure you're greeting those visitors too. I'd like to know how you guys are doing that. When you spend your first 15 minutes of your meeting, what are you guys doing to engage your visitors as they jump on these Zoom calls? Anybody?
I know what we do is we create a breakout room, and we actually will create multiple. So we'll have visitors in one room, and then we put our visitor host in there.
Okay.
And then if we have observers, we have a room for them, and guests will have a different room, and we put, usually our president goes in with the observers just to explain how the meeting's going to work. If we don't have any observers, then our president, our visitor host coordinator, and the member that invited that visitor goes into a breakout room for a pre-meeting orientation. And then when that's done, they come back into our main room, and they are introduced by either our president or the member that invited them.
Nice. That's a very personal touch. That's really cool. What is everybody else doing? Get it with their visitors when they join the meeting for the first time?
I usually say hi to them through the chat first, because there's usually a lot of chatter going on. So I connect with them through the chat, welcome them, and thank them for coming.
That's great, Bonnie. I like that. Anybody else?
Do a breakout kind of orientation just before the start of the meeting with the visitor host team and any visitors that haven't been before, that haven't, if they're a first-time visitor.
Okay, that's great, Greg. Thank you.
I like our leadership team encourages us to, almost like have a contest on how many times we can say the visitor's name naturally in our conversations so that we make them feel very included. So
I like it.
Yeah, I think somebody won today. There's no prize, just, you're awesome.
Well, competitive people don't always need a prize, Rose.
No, but I mean, at least our name should go out in an email. I think so.
Yeah, Rose doesn't need a prize. Just the spotlight, just the recognition, a little beam on her, is.
I always ask the first question and the last comment.
All right, Kathy, did you have a comment, Kathy?
I was going to talk about our chapter. I don't know that we specifically have a formal way of greeting visitors. I feel like we all just jump on them at once. I feel like we all just, hi, how are you? Who are you? What are you doing here? What do you do? Tell us about yourself. And then we're all like, so I hope it's not intimidating, but we're so like warm and bubbly as a group. Like we're instantly like, come in for the group hug. Like, I don't know if that's scary to new people, but that's kind of what we do.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm gonna have to say it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I got that experience myself, and I want to say I was overwhelmed a little. I was like, oh, okay. So I want to say it all depends on the person.
Yep. It's interesting. I'll share this with y'all. I meet, don't know if you knew this, but I meet every single month with all the leadership team members of your chapter, the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. And we talk about things to make sure that you as a member have a meeting this month that's better than the meetings last month. We always want to improve by just little increments. And so there's lots we can do. You can imagine since March, what we've been talking about is how to, everybody in BNI knows that the meetings are for the members, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha, Eli. The members are for the visitor. The meetings are for the visitors. Eli, stay after class and I'll help you with that. No, really it is, but we all know that. And yet the fact is during this, since March, the meetings have been all about the members because we're focused on the members. Can you get on? Is your internet functional? Do you know how to unmute yourself for crying out loud? Do you know how to, all that stuff. And so we've been just kind of doing that. And so I just want you to know that because you're members of these chapters and our leaders have been talking about how to improve the visitor experience. Now, back in the in-person meeting phase, which we will return to, but there are certain things that it was kind of natural that, of course, here's things we can do. We're in the same room with them, and it was a different feeling. But we've been focused on here's what we want. Same thing we wanted in the in-person meeting. We want a visitor to have 20 or 30 wow impressions. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Wow, that's cool. And so there's things you can do as a member. Some of y'all are doing something right now. I want to ask you, for those of you who haven't done it, I want you to do this. Behind you is real estate. Tricia, you had mentioned, Jayci had mentioned that, these visitors usually come once, never to return. Are you aware of that? That doesn't mean that they had a bad experience. It just means that BNI isn't for everybody. And they buy from you either now or later, they and their friends. And if you are not branding yourself, you are missing out. So if you're going to define a professional Zoom networking organization, that should be us, right? It should be your chapter. And so if that is a struggle for you, and it was for me to do this, then for crying out loud, you solve problems every day in your world. Figure that out. You have 90 minutes. And visitors, there's too many people for them to remember. But if nothing else, they can take a screenshot. There's help them know who you are and remember who you are. And in so doing, folks, we have the absolute, hands down, no questions asked, best professional networking group on the planet. Well, that's not by accident. We're working at it all the time. So much of what y'all said, Duana and Gretchen and Jayci, had to do with that. But then there's things you can do too. So I'm not, that's just pointing out the background. It's just one thing that we're working on. Rose, you said another thing, and that is when you say Rose's name 10 or 15 times during the meeting, she's like, she might even be aware of why she felt like y'all are so welcoming and warm and accepting, but it's because you, Bonnie, like to hear people say your name, don't you? No different than Nancy and Kevin. And so it's one of those things that not only should you do in your meetings, you should do just in your business life, use people's name. And that's a real low level of recognition, but it is undeniably recognition. And so, Christy, you even like it, don't you? And Christy works in a...
That depends.
You don't like people using your name?
Not the way you do, no.
All right, so she's referring to the fact that she feels like in our MSP class not too long ago that I picked on her a lot, which
like
I probably
every other word.
Which I probably did, but then again, she works in an attorney's office, so she would be particularly sensitive to stuff like that, right? Anyway,
I don't like being called out either, so I don't blame her.
All right, so I know that we only have 4 minutes left. Tricia, I don't want to monopolize any more time, but this all has to do with us making the meeting about the visitor again, because it has really been about the member for a while as we adjust. So I want to remind you, in whatever level that you're hearing that at, that you have a part in making your meeting a wow meeting for visitors who really are, Tricia, just zoomed out. They're like, I'm sick of, honestly, we experience that in in-person environment. People are just, you know, they're just tired of life, or they're just, well, so, you know, that's just something that we all deal with. But I frankly want for them to have a Zoom oasis. I want them to go, you know what? I have never been to a Zoom meeting like that in my life. It's amazing. But we heard that from people all the time about coming to your chapter meetings. I've never been to a networking meeting like that in my life. You got to you got to come see. So anyway.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. So you guys, ladies, you did an amazing job. I hope that you connected or found a new person to connect with here on this meeting. Please know that we've got 2 regions here. Hey, Bonnie, are you in our region? Where'd she go?
I'm here. No, I'm far away.
You're far away. What region are you in, Bonnie?
Southeast Texas region, almost in Louisiana. I'm so far.
And Bonnie has been
folks
here.
Like us, that means Beaumont. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been here every single week because we're sharing this meeting with both regions. So here's the news. Next week, our Greater Golden Triangle region, which is Bonnie's region, is going to be presenting. The chapter that's on the hook is BNI Unlimited Success. I'm very excited to see what their topic is, and they will be here next week for our last What You Need to Know Wednesday in this format. So I don't know what the new format's going to look like, but next week is the last week we're going to be doing it like this. So you guys join us. Make sure you put it on your calendar. We always share tons of great information here, whether it's through a presentation or just collaboration of members that are here. You guys are all awesome and amazing. Have a great day, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Hey, Tricia, before the release doesn't jump off, and because I have 1 minute, I'll give you a quick sneak preview about what's going to happen in August. I'm getting with Natasha Garrett, who owns the Greater Golden Triangle BNI region. And our idea is that there's people in Beaumont who'd like to connect with people in Houston and vice versa. So why don't we do something on a weekly basis where we can facilitate that? So that's really what we're going to be focusing on starting in August, and that'll be your opportunity to meet the Bonnies of the world and Bonnie to meet us. And so, because we're going to generate some business, and that's what we want to facilitate. We want to take advantage of the fact that we have a BNI neighbor right close to us. And so we're going to be doing creative things about that. Gabe, by the way, I'm not forgetting you either, girl. I see you down there.
Okay.
I know that you're in the longtime member of the chapters out in the Beaumont area as well, the Southeast Texas Networkers. So that's what we're going to be doing. All right. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. You guys have an amazing day. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you guys. Have a good one. See you next week.